What's cracking, everyone? Welcome to the TME podcast. I'm Glenn,
And I'm Tina.
and we have a very interesting topic to discuss.
Finally.
Finally, what to discuss it?
Yeah. We finally figured out a topic.
You know, it wasn't that hard, really.
Mm.
But it was actually what brought this up was we were at a cookout. You describe it.
No, we were at a cookout and we were around a bunch of people that we hadn't really gotten to know yet. So we were talking about just ourselves, and they were asking questions about us and stuff and asking about our kids. And of course, once we got to our daughter's going to be 30, that's when you could tell everybody started processing like...
It happens all the time. Every function we go to, and if we're just starting to get to know the people where we're, how old are your kids and how old are you guys? It's the same reaction. Like, oh, what were you married when you were 13, or did you have kids when you were 13?
Right.
No, 17. It was 17,
God.
not 13. So,
what do you think?
But that was brought up, and we told them our story, and they couldn't believe it. They were shocked.
Well, I think one of the questions that came out of somebody was like, how would you have possibly done that? I mean, how do you guys be that young and with all the things that go on when you're a kid?
Yeah.
Like, how did you end up?
Yeah, it was more like...
How did she word it? I forget the word.
She worded it, oh, you guys were so young. You must have been enticed, with other people. How did you guys stay together with all the challenges of, I guess, being enticed by other people?
Right.
And that's interesting to me because, I've never really...
We've never been enticed by other people.
Well, I only can speak for me, but I never veered off of my goal with Tina and the kids and then the end goal.
Exactly.
So that's where my mind was.
Exactly. There was, like we had said in previous videos, there was no time for anything like that. There was no
I gotta
time
be
for
honest. There's a joke between Tina and I even say it to other people. It's like, because people have asked me, it's like, haven't you ever want to be with somebody else? And I'm like, well, when we were going through it, I was exhausted. I had no game. I was too exhausted to even think of a game.
And then we can go back to how we were dressed, because that's a big piece too. We just weren't. We weren't
equipped. Yeah, we're not as cool and as suave as we are right now.
Yeah, now we're But yeah, that was a funny thing because we were obviously we think about what topics to talk about, and there's a lot of people that have been asking us for more of our backstory and stuff like that, but we don't really know what is too much detail because we don't want to bore anybody. But this was a good one to kind of bring out this topic as to so why did you choose to stay?
Well,
or
right. It's funny. It's more that question comes towards me more so.
Right.
Because when a mother has a kid, you rarely ever see the mother just leave or abandon the child or the family. It's usually the father who says screw this, this isn't for me, I'm out of here, and ends up leaving or doesn't take care of the child or the mother.
Right.
So, but for me, I mean, I got to be honest. When I found out that you were pregnant, I think I welcomed it with open arms. I mean, right from the get.
I remember we were walking down that sidewalk. I forget. I think we just came out of the doctor's office. We were walking down that sidewalk, and you put your arm around me, and I was crying because I was I was scared, I was nervous, I was everything. And you put your arm around me, and you said, "We're gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay." And that reassured me then. It did help when I was like, okay, all right, we're gonna be all right.
But I do remember that.
Yeah.
But I think for me it was again, this is not to slight my dad in any way, but I watched. There was 8 of us, and my dad provided financially for all of us. But I watched my mom really raise all 8 kids on her own almost.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I always said hey, even then I have always said it. When I was a teenager, that when I'm a dad, I'm going to do things differently. I want to be hands-on. with my kid, and I wanted to be hands on, with my wife.
Yeah, it
You know,
was. I remember, and that was very important. I think even when we were like before our daughter was even born, that was one of the things that you were always talking about. Like we did, we like started a little, those Deer Park water jugs, and we started one just putting like change, and we would
no,
take
yeah,
we would take dollar bills and like write notes to her on there, or we didn't know it was gonna be a her at that time, but write notes to the baby, and we were like, oh, we're gonna save for college here. We're gonna just this is what we're doing. Like we really tried to prepare as much as we could,
as much as we could.
and we were like, but it was so cute because we were thinking ahead.
Yeah, we were always thinking ahead, but but going back to what I was saying was, why I chose to stay.
Right.
And I mean, and that was the main reason I chose to stay, was because I wanted to better our situation. I wanted to be the best father I could be, the best husband I could be. Yeah, was I scared? Was I nervous? I mean, because I really didn't know much about being a husband or a father, but I was up for the challenge from like day one.
But where did your maturity in that come from? Because like a lot of times, like I think that's the key part that's missing, I think, for a lot of people. And I won't even say just like men. I just mean in general, like
Well, you could
the
say men. You
maturity.
could say men because statistically it shows that men usually, the majority of men bail.
Got it.
And
But like where did your maturity come from for that?
Tina, I can't answer. It's hard to answer that because I gotta be honest. I was game all the way from day one. I was game. I was so excited. Let me think back on this. I just had the feeling that I was kind of going nowhere fast at that time.
Okay.
And, meeting you and then you being pregnant and then having a kid on the way, I felt like it was giving me purpose. It was giving
Yeah.
me direction,
Yeah. I
the
get that
kind the
too.
kind of direction I needed, which is bizarre for being so young,
Yeah.
because most people would have ran in the other direction, finding
Yeah.
out, but not for me. It gave me direction, and I wanted to do things so differently,
Hmm.
you know, on being just a good father, a good husband, um, and I was up for the challenge, and
Right.
I'm still up for the challenge. I'm still like trying to be better, you
Yeah.
know,
Well,
each
yeah.
day. So, but yeah, I can't even ask you that question. Like, what made you stick around? Because most mothers stick around, you know?
Well, I just think it's like, yeah, like there was never anything there. I mean, ever. Like I never had those feelings. But again, I think that all comes back to, I just think by nature, I think there might be other situations for women, like if they do bail on their families and kids, there's usually like something else going on,
Right.
like
Yeah.
either within them or like whatever. But like, there's not too many women that naturally, like I just feel like it's ingrained in you. Like you, when you give birth to something, like you can't walk away, or you don't feel like walking away from it. It's not.
Right.
But I know there's things that happen like that.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes it does.
I never thought that was an option. Never thought of just not
Being
being a
done with
part of
it.
you or,
Yeah,
or the baby's life,
yeah.
or
And
vice
that's
versa, being part of the baby's life and not yours. That's not
yeah,
the kind of life I wanted for my children.
that's
You know what I'm
kind.
saying?
Yeah, I do.
I never wanted that.
But it wasn't like you even thought that during that. Like it was just
Never.
more of when the things got hard. I mean, don't get like we bickered. There were things that went on
Yeah,
that we didn't
there was
agree with, and there
yeah,
were challenges to
definitely.
everything. But it never went to that level of just being like,
No.
do you know what I mean? It wasn't like you're
Like,
walking out and being done, or I'm walking out and being done. Like we never got. And
no.
again, I really believe that like because there was a lot going on in our life, that there was no time for even
Yeah.
fighting like
Yeah, we had stressful
crazy.
moments, but for the most part, we were always pulling in the same direction, always
Yeah.
trying to get ahead,
And if we had
always.
like a disagreement though, it was like a quick
It was
disagreement because there was
fast.
no time to wallow in it. Like
Yeah.
we had to get back in the system and get back in the schedule and keep moving. Like it wasn't there was no time for that either.
Right.
Like
That's true.
seriously.
That is
Like
true.
how much time do we have to like go into like petty stuff? There was no time for that.
Not really. Like you said, though, if we got into it, it was
Yeah.
over quickly because, there was just too much going
Yeah.
on.
And it was more like it wasn't like it had to ever be like a right or a wrong from either one of us. It was just like it was just done, and then you move on to get the kids help with homework, help with food, get them to
Yeah.
bed, and go to sleep, and then start over the next day. So
Right.
yeah. So coming back to like, I know for me, I'm gonna just talk on this topic, like why it was important to be married to you, and
At such a young age.
yeah, and like at that point, I think there were a few times we talked about just waiting to have the baby and then we would get married afterward. And that was all financial based, if you remember that. Like it was like, oh, we don't have the money. Like if we're gonna get married, you have to have money to get married. And we were just like, well, then we don't worry about that right now. We just have to worry about, the baby. So it was almost like we we knew we wanted to be married,
Yeah.
but we didn't really put a emphasis on when it had to happen.
Right. You mean
All
either before or
before or
after?
after. But then I did start thinking really nice for me, my personal opinion was I wanted to have the same last name as
Yeah.
you and the baby. That was important to me
Right.
then. And I still feel like it's like for me it was the right
I mean,
decision to do.
other than the fact that having the same last name, I mean, I think that's important. But you know, I like to think though, if you and I didn't get married, then I still think we would still be together.
Yes, absolutely. No
Because
question.
I have broken all stereotypes and statistics that I'm
Well,
sure that would be just another one that
well,
we would have just
what were we talking
broke through.
about earlier with this whole statistic thing?
Which what?
Like we were saying it was like 40%.
Well, 48% of all teen marriages fail.
48%
Fail.
fail. And it's something like 40% of all teen moms never graduate high school.
Well,
And I don't even know what the statistic is for the men. It's
I
it's
think
way out
it was
there.
8 out of 10 teen dads don't finish high school.
Wow. 8 out of 10.
Eight out
That's a
of
lot.
8 out of 10.
And then 2/3 of all marriages, when married as teens, they fail within 2 decades, within 20 years.
Right.
So,
So we've actually broken all those statistics there, and that's just like the
I'd
start.
say let's fist pump, but we don't have to fist pump.
We fist bump. But I mean, think about it though. That's why I say if you and I weren't
Yes.
married, I would think we would still be together
We
because
absolutely would.
I mean we were breaking all stereotypes and statistics
Agreed.
on
Yeah.
all levels, and I don't see why we wouldn't be together still.
Right. I agree with that. But that's where I'm thinking, like, I always come back to, like, everything that we kind of did for this was way out of the norm, I feel.
Yeah.
Like, we were talking earlier about what kind of topics we wanted to talk with you guys about, and one of them was, all the things that were necessary to get ourselves in place. Like, when we found out we were pregnant, we were we were sitting at your house and we were going through phone books trying to find like different pregnancy centers or teen centers or where, like, what are you supposed to do, because
Right.
we didn't know what we were going to do, and calling all those places. And like, you have to remember, we don't have cell phones, we don't have computers, we don't have any easy access or technology and resource so just at our fingertips. We had to do a lot of exploring and a lot of homework. And like, each person you talk to would you give you more pamphlets to call this next thing, and then you get more pamphlets and like call this next thing. So it was like this really like hard process, but we did that.
Yeah. Well,
Like,
you did a lot of that.
but we figured it all out.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not like we were calling upon all the adults around us.
No, no.
We were handling it all. You were doing all
Yes.
that. I was trying to line up work right away.
Yeah.
So
And talking at the school to find out, like, I remember when you said, I'm going to talk to them about, because I know there's something I can go and I can work half a day or something. And that was the
oh
co-op
yeah, I went on the
program.
co-op
And
program.
it was like, but that took action. It wasn't
Yeah.
like you were just like, well, yeah, I guess. Or
Yeah, we
I
didn't
guess.
sit back. Once we found
No.
out that you were pregnant,
It's
we took it and ran. We were
Yes.
trying to do a lot of organizing.
Yes.
Ways of bringing money in. Like Tina just said, I had a half a day of co-op or school, and then it was a half a day of landscaping, and then from landscaping, I went to the Acme, and I got in at 11 o'clock.
The Acme.
The Acme.
It's the Acme.
So Yeah, it did. It took a lot of planning
Well,
to make it
yeah.
happen.
But
Yeah.
and that's one of the biggest things I want to talk about especially with teen parenting. It's like, but this can apply to anybody. It's like if you're not taking action to like do what you have to get done,
Right.
like it's not going to get done, or you can't expect somebody else like to do it, or you can't wait around for somebody else to do it for you. It's you've got to take the action and do it, and that was very important. And I think it was even harder as a teen by yourself because it was like remember like nobody around you knew about it
At that
at
time.
that time. Your friends didn't know, your teachers didn't know, your parents didn't know. You're by yourself and it's like
Yeah, it's lonely.
it's way isolating. Like it's really
Yeah.
that was really tough. I remember being like in the stall in the bathroom like getting sick with morning sickness and it was like you can't feeling horrible all day because you're just like you just don't feel good and it's like
Yeah.
you got to keep the face on and keep doing what you normally do, and you don't feel like doing it, but it
And
is.
you're in a Catholic school, and
Oh,
you know what they think of that.
oh yeah, they were very opinionated about it. Yeah, it was a challenge, but in the long run, I look back on it and I think like, but that relates all back too because everybody that was at that school that was supposed to be in an authority area, they failed as adults.
Sure.
And I'm saying that very strongly now, they failed as
Sure.
adults because they didn't even know how powerful their words were, yet they assumed that I ruined my life. And that was a quote.
Right.
I got that from one of my advisors there. You realize you just ruined your life. I'm like,
I know. Without going into being all bitter and hateful,
no,
but
no.
I mean, but you're right. They were giving you poor advice.
Yes.
These are adults.
Right. The guidance was not the proper guidance. The support was not the proper support. Like I look at it as an adult right now, and if it was
Yeah, you wouldn't take the
happening
same
to
approach.
me now, no, I would never approach it. And don't forget, I mean, like that wasn't all that long ago. It wasn't like, I mean, I graduated in
Yeah,
'89,
it wasn't that taboo.
so it wasn't like, yeah, it wasn't like we were back in the '40s and '50s.
Right.
This was just somebody that had an opinion about my circumstance and felt like just saying it, and that's
Yeah, it's wrong.
yeah.
Because she could have chose better words to make you feel more comfortable, more reassuring.
And to maybe make the positive or take the positive approach on trying to help the
Yeah,
circumstance.
well,
Like,
yeah.
not that I would have asked for help. Like, you understand
No,
what
I
I'm
mean
trying to
it's
say.
just it's an adult having a moment to comfort a kid.
Right,
That's all it is.
right,
But she chose the wrong words.
right.
So, and that was a Catholic school. Just to did I say Catholic
You
school?
said it. It was like your third time.
Yeah, that was a Catholic school. So but go ahead.
So, in saying all of this, here we are. We're talking about our background story. We do have a lot more experiences, I guess, to share. We have to collect them a little bit more and kind of understand, like, what you'll find interesting in them, I think, for us to, like, put together
Yeah.
our next episode. But please give us more
Wait, hold on.
feedback.
But people want to know why we're still married. How do we do it?
Oh, well, I don't know.
That's the-
Okay.
Yeah, so we talked about why I married you.
Right? So
And
why are we still married?
how are we still married after 30 years,
Yeah.
starting out as
So I'm
teen
gonna
love?
say there's a lot there that I would talk about. Okay, so I'm starting with there is nobody that would ever be able to fill your place or your position within my heart because of everything that we've been through.
Right.
And when I think of all of that, there is just so much with you. Like,
Right.
it just feels great to be in this place right now because
It is.
we have,
Like things are easy right now.
they are.
Right.
And it took me like to learn you too, because early, like we said, in our 20s, you're going like crazy. And then by the
Trying to figure each
30s,
other out
yeah,
still.
the kids are starting to like go off on their bike rides or go to their friend's house or do whatever. So you're finding yourself with a little more time with each other. But that's when you really have to like, I don't know if it's being grateful
Yeah.
or acknowledging. It could just be easy as saying acknowledging that like this is the person that was in the same trenches with you and they're still
Yeah.
here. Like,
Right. Yeah, that's the way I look at it.
you know, there's
Because
a lot.
I could line up 100 women, right? And you're in that that lineup. There's not one woman that can endure what you and I have
I
endured,
agree with that.
everything we have been through.
Yep.
And I'm talking about enduring, being minimalist. Not having much at all. Most women would just cringe at it. Certain food preparations, women wouldn't have it. You eat what you have.
Yeah. We just rolled with everything.
We rolled with it, but
we did.
like I said, I can have 100 women, and 100 women cannot have done with what you have done. Not only to deal with me, but also the situation at hand.
Sure.
And also to come out on top as a great person, a great mother,
Thank you.
great wife.
Thank you.
And I know that for a fact. It's just everything we've endured. There's not too many women out there that could have done what you've done.
Thank you. Well,
So
I feel the same way.
that makes me love you even more. So,
Thank you.
and that you stood by me all these years through all the tough times. Like I said, the tough times are behind us.
Yes.
Now. So
Yes.
looking forward, it's like now we just enjoy each other
Exactly.
and keep getting better, as people.
I agree.
So that's why. And along the way, though, people fail to realize, and all marriages are tough. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
It's not like we're patting ourselves on the back,
No.
but all marriage is tough because it's a partnership. But
Yes.
it's even harder when you're teenagers, trying to figure it all out. But I think what it is also is you're constantly trying to improve.
We always try. Well, we started talking about that in one of the other videos about like that.
Yeah,
like,
we did touch
what did
on
we
that.
call it? Growth, self-growth, right? Or
Yeah,
personal growth.
personal growth.
So
you have to have personal growth.
yeah.
I mean, for me to be a better person is going to be, is going to improve Tina and vice versa. Tina's
exactly.
improving herself,
Yeah.
and it's going to improve me.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
there's a lot of like real, and I guess the raw side of it all has to be, you have to be honest about it. You know what you like. I know my own quirks. I know the things that I do that like I could do
Oh, you
better.
don't have too many of them. I can't think of any off the top of my head.
I'm gonna kick you under the table.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, like I have quirks. I have things that I know that I fall short on, but I'm honest about it. Like I'm not going outward to push blame, knowing what my shortcoming is. I'm not putting it on you.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? And I know
Yeah.
you don't do that to me either.
No.
So it's almost like being self aware, I guess, is really important when
Yeah.
you're in that.
Well, you have to. You gotta have. You have to analyze yourself.
Yeah.
If you want to grow and become better, and I don't care if it's a better person, better husband, better father, you have to analyze yourself.
Yeah.
And and to be your best version of yourself takes everyday work.
It does, and there's
The
a lot.
the minute you wake up, if
Yeah.
that's what your goal is, to be a better person, to be the best version of yourself, you need to do that every day.
Agreed. And the
Yeah.
truth can hurt, man. The truth can that can create that uncomfortable feeling, things
Yeah.
that you don't want to necessarily acknowledge about yourself, but you got to do it,
That is
and
true.
it does make you better.
So that's that.
So, you guys, we in the last, what do you figure, Glenn? The last week, we have gotten phone calls, and I'm excited about it because these are people that I do want to have on as interviews.
All right.
But what I am mentioning, we've had 3 so far that are just they were just calling to be like,
They want to come. They want to
"Man."
come on the show,
Yeah.
and then converse with us, but also tell their story.
Exactly.
And they are interesting people.
Completely.
You guys would love them.
But what I was saying to them is like, I don't want to bring them on yet because I feel like gosh, we've only been doing this for like a month. Like this is so new to everything. And I just want to have more views, more people, or a more of an audience, I guess,
Yeah.
or someplace to put these people as like a platform. So if we can just ask you, like, please share our
Yeah.
stuff.
Like, subscribe, share,
Yeah, all the
leave
stuff that you always
comments.
hear.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're not
But
we're
we're
not
trying.
begging, but just
No,
like,
we're trying to build up the community a little bit
yes.
before we start having guests on.
Yes, because they're such good people to hear, and
Yeah.
like I'm thrilled to be sharing them, and so interesting. But I wanted to just say,
Yeah.
like, they're waiting and we're waiting, so it would
Yeah.
be really awesome if you guys could help us with that.